Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome into the Golden Edge Mailbag. I'm Golden Knights beat reporter Ben Gotz, here to take your questions on the Golden Knights after their 7-2 preseason win over the Arizona Coyotes last night. I almost said Phoenix Coyotes. I forget sometimes. They are the Arizona Coyotes. You submitted questions via my Twitter handle at Ben S. Gotz or to my email at bgotz@reviewjournal.com. So I'm here to provide answers to what you want to know. The first question comes courtesy of @MRobles Sr. What happened to the Russian player with the attitude? This is a Shippy question, and I am here for it. Shippy, if you hear this, that is a verbatim question. I am not necessarily calling you a person with a bad attitude. If you don't remember, Vadim Shipachyov was signed to a 2-year, $9 million contract by the Knights last year to be one of their top 2 centers. He is a player from Russia. They got him from the Russian club SKA St. Petersburg. He was not kept on the active roster at the beginning of the year, kind of due to a numbers crunch with the defenseman. He was brought up for 3 games, but didn't do so hot, so they were actually going to send him back to the minors. But he basically refused and then ended up going back to Russia and his Russian club, SKA St. Petersburg. So basically, where is he now? He actually signed with a kind of lesser club this offseason, so a little bit of a downgrade, and he can't come back to the NHL anytime soon. The Golden Knights have his rights for the next 5 years, so they'd either have to trade them to another team to allow him back in the NHL, because I don't think they want him themselves after all that happened. So there's your Shippy update. Not the best year plus for that guy. Our next question comes courtesy of @SeanQ2804. If signing Erik Karlsson was somewhat of a priority, what is plan B? So for those of you that don't know, star defenseman Erik Karlsson was traded by the Ottawa Senators to the San Jose Sharks last week for a package that was kind of more quantity than quality. They got a bunch of pieces back, the Senators did, but nothing that really catches your eye or gets you excited, at least from my perspective. The Knights were linked to Erik Karlsson all offseason. He is a stud defenseman. He is a 2-time James Norris Memorial Trophy winner for best defenseman. And the Knights could really use an upgrade on the back end. I think their back end was exposed a little bit in the Stanley Cup final, but they were not able to get this deal done. So in terms of plan B, I start, if I am general manager George McPhee, by re-signing defenseman Shea Theodore. Theodore is still unsigned after a pretty nice season with the Golden Knights last year. He does not have arbitration rights, so it makes the contract negotiations between him and the Golden Knights a little tricky. But if he does not have a contract by early December, he will not be allowed to play the rest of the season, so I expect at some point for him to sign that contract. He'll get back in the fold, and then if you're the Golden Knights, I think you just kind of stand pat and evaluate your in-house options until probably the trade deadline. Now that training camp has started, teams are kind of going to go with the group they have. They're not looking to make major shakeups, which is why the Erik Karlsson news happened at the beginning of training camp, so he could get into the Sharks camp and kind of get acclimated with his new teammates before the season. There will be some player movement at the end of training camp. Guys will get cut, guys will get traded, but those are going to be more end of the roster kind of guys. I think if you're the Golden Knights now, you're going to sit back, potentially bring Shea Theodore into the fold, and then wait to see what's available at the trade deadline if you still think that you need to upgrade that defenseman core. All right, our next question comes from @VegasBonilla. I assume it's Bonilla, not Bonilla. Will any preseason games be shown on TV? So not many. The game last night was actually not on TV, but the Golden Knights will be showing their last 2 preseason home games on AT&T Sportsnet, which is their home for most of their TV broadcasts. So those games are September 28th against the Los Angeles Kings and September 30th on the San Jose Sharks. I know it's not the best if you can't watch all these preseason games, if you really need that hockey fix. But all preseason games will be on the radio at Fox Sports Las Vegas, 98.9 FM, 1340 AM. Or, actually, all the preseason home games will also be on in Spanish, if you speak Espanol, at ESPN Deportes Las Vegas, 1460 AM. So you have radio options, but you only have TV options for those last 2 preseason games. All right, our next question comes from @LVNick702. When will the DMV release the license plates? So the Golden Knights are going to come out with some custom license plates that you can put on your car. It's been a little bit of a back and forth over the design, but I was told by a spokesman last night These will be ready very soon. So if you want to Golden Knights your car, be ready by, I was told, the end of October. So hopefully the end of next month, you'll be able to get a Golden Knights license plate if you are so inclined. And our last question comes from Bethany, who submitted this via email. Do you know if Chance's Kids Zone at City National practices will happen again, like last season, for kids under 14 to get player autographs? Bethany told me a really nice story over email about how it meant so much to her kid to interact with these players and feel like, he knew them. So that was a really cool story. And the short answer is yes, this will happen again. The Golden Knights don't have many details yet. They're still kind of working things out because we're just in the preseason. We're not to the regular season yet. But the short answer is at some point, expect for that to happen again. We just need to get the details later on. So those are our questions for our Golden Edge mailbag. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions. Remember, if you have a question that you want answered, you can hit me up on Twitter at BenSGoetz, or you can email me at bgoetz@reviewjournal.com. I'm going to answer any and all questions all season long. For the Review Journal, I'm Ben Gotz.